Hello, hello, my darlings. Yes, it is time. It is time. It is. Oh, I just towered my glasses. It is time for a slice of life. The journey with Georgianne Thomas. You know, this is my what you would call virtual biography, however you want to call it, memoir, biography, Georgianne, talking about Georgianne and her life. It was just easier for me to do it this way. People say you should write something. Okay, well, I'm writing it now. I'm writing it virtually. Listen, I have to go back and make some corrections. One, maybe a Freudian slip. When I talked about Royal Crown hair dressing when I was in the DC area, I talked about hair rep. I didn't say Royal Crown, I said Crown Royal. My favorite. I guess I was just thinking about the Crown Royal. I was just thinking about it so much. I have it sitting over here just to remind me that I do think about Crown Royal from time to time. I thought you would like that. So let's talk about where I am. I think it was getting in a divorce, and finally getting hired at Delta Airlines and being kicked out of public relations. Of course, they won't say we got kicked out, but I want to say myself and two very prominent, especially the one that came behind me, a prominent judge in Atlanta. She got kicked out, and then a prominent journalist right behind me, a University of Georgia journalist. She didn't last either. I don't know what that was going on in that department, but it was, well, I know, I'm not going to say. It was one person who just didn't want to, he just couldn't take it. He couldn't either take dealing with black people or he couldn't take working with black people. I had the degree, the master's degree, but I had to count the beans, and you know how you had to count the beans in a jar? I had to count the beans in the jar to be a manager, and I couldn't guess the right number. But the other young lady could guess the right number because they said you have to take a test because you have to be able to write. Now I had a master's degree, she did not. She was a white girl, but she did not have a master's degree. But she had she had a journalism degree, and so I didn't know that. I didn't. My master's was in education and curriculum, and so rightfully so, if that was going to be what they used, then she had the credentials for the job. But I ask you, did the rest of the people take that same exam? And the answer is no. They didn't have to take that same exam because you can learn the markings when you're correcting, you see. But I had to, so all kind of stuff went on, and I wasn't smart enough. Now I will say this: in the program department, I'm not left-brained like that, and so it was an opportunity to take that exam. But I did excel. I finally got where somebody cared something about me, and that was at the airport. Oh my God, did I love working for Delta Airlines at the airport? Whew. We were family over at corporate, kind of family, fractured. Let me just tell you about. Did I tell you about the lady who said, the lady I work with, they said, "Oh, that lady is somebody." And she said, "No, she's not. That's just Georgianne. She's a secretary like us." I stayed in the secretary pool. I couldn't get above that with an MED from Georgia State. Anyway, let me go on. So I went over to the airport. I found a white guy, German. He found me, and he talked about my folder, he says all kind of stuff in here that doesn't make sense. He said, "I'm gonna clean this folder out." He said, "Because it's all wrong." Did you know, I'm not gonna tell that part because Delta would deny it. They would deny our employee numbers. I better not say that. But he was just talking about how my folder was just full of stuff that shouldn't have been in there, So I was grateful, and I was able to thrive at the airport. I had a great time. Of course, I had to push wheelchairs first, but I wasn't above pushing wheelchairs because I had a child, and I had a friend who told me, she worked in the law department. She said, "Georgianne, you know what? You got a child. You have a daughter. But she says, every time you get ready to do something, just think. These people, they were raised to think that, but you know you're not that. Whoo, that was a lesson to learn. They were raised to think that. Let me tell you when I learned what martyr meant. I was doing the tours. That was one of my jobs. They made up a job for me in PR. And so I gave the tour to an employee's kids' school. And the little girl pulled me and she says, "You know what martyr means?" I thought she was so cute. I said, "What does martyr mean?" And she said, "Moving Africans rapidly through Atlanta." This was a coworker that I knew. You see, stuff be going on at home and you out there working with these people. It was a lot that went on, but I have to hand it to the black personnel that worked at the airport. We stuck together without sticking together, without anybody knowing it. We did a lot of underground, looking at each other, helping each other out. This white woman got promoted for calling me colored. Really? And a black man, I forgot he said he wasn't black, but a black man promoted her to lead. Because I complained because she called me colored. And here we are with people lined up and down and she said, "The colored lady." We got some stories. We all have some stories. But still, I got to hand it to them. The pockets of people. Cortez Brown and Yakas and Ernie Tate and Linda Jones. Oh my God, that was my friend. I asked her to come work for Delta, really. I said, "You don't need to do anything else but work for Delta." And she's still on the ramp, #1 on C or D concourse. But the people who just said, "Georgianne, stay here. Let's come on, we can do this." My languages got better. I mean, I went from French to Spanish to German to Italian and just a little bit of Portuguese, not much. And then I was able to go over with Swiss Air. We had a combination of Delta Airlines and Swiss Air. And oh my God, I thrived over there. They even sent me to work over in Geneva. Did I go to Geneva? Zurich. Went to Zurich. Because they wanted us to be familiar with the airport. We could help people out. If we got them over here and we knew what was going on over there. Oh my God. That Delta Airlines did something for me over there and when I got to the airport. I thrived. I met Jonita Mitchell. I think I told you all that. She knew how to put a uniform on. She made a uniform look like it came out of Vogue magazine. She did. I remember I was almost time to retire. And, let me talk about Frances Bishop. She was white and she was over in the other side, on the corporate side. But she was, there's always one that's exceptional. She was exceptional. Exceptional. She said, "You know what? I'm not like them. I'm different." Frances Bishop. And she raised a different child. And her child ended up going to high school with my child. It just, just pockets of people. Jim, I remember a man come banging on the counter. He says, he didn't want to talk to me. He asked who was in charge, and I said I was. He's like, "I want to talk to somebody else in charge." And I knew that Jim had just gone. He said, "I'm leaving early. I'm leaving you in charge." I said, "Okay." I knew he was still, might have been at the bottom of the steps. So I called the bottom of the steps. And I said, "You still in the building?" Because I told the gentleman, I said, "Well, I'll get Jim." He said, "That's right. You bring Jim up here. He'll understand." I said, "Okay, sir. Let me get Jim." Jim said, "Girl," I said, "he wanted to see Jim." He said, "Okay." So Jim came upstairs. Jim looked like me. Oh, that guy was furious. I never been called the N-word so many times. Till I worked at Delta Airlines. I mean, we got called when I marched with Dr. King, but you definitely got it from the customers. It was something, but I know it did something. It was good training. I know good customer service, and let me tell you how God worked it out. I retired from the customer service department only because Sandra East Jackson, the requirements was a master's degree. I finally found a place where a master's degree meant something at Delta Airlines in the training department. I wrote the PSA, the red coats. They said we need to write a book about the PSA. So here's what we got. Can you turn that into a book? I loved it because I felt like I was the ultimate PSA because I learned from people like B. Wayne and Ernie Tate and Steve Yocker. Steve Yocker's uniform, he was like Joe Nyder. His shirt was so white. I said, Steve, how do you look like that every day? Oh my God, it was a beautiful, beautiful group of people that worked at Delta Airlines during that time. I retired at age 52 as soon as I could because Evelyn had finished Northwestern by this time. No, she didn't go to Spelman. We all get through that. So let's see where I am. I went through the 80s pretty fast. Let me back up on those 80s. In the 80s, I got very political. I wanted to be a council person. I wanted to be a state senator. I wanted to do something to help people. I really thought in my mind that you could run for office and win. I never won. Never. I came in third one time out of 5 people. And that gave me a boost. But I never had the numbers or something that I never understood why. I know I did win. Let me see what I won. I was this some new hair. I'm sorry. My birthday is tomorrow. I'll be 81. So this some new. It hasn't learned how to stay in place yet. Anyway, I retired at 52, age 52. My mother was like, retirement at 52? I said, yes. Anyway, my mother was never happy that I worked or any of us worked. Because she had built, you know how you just build up on something for children to follow. She had built up this school, and there I was working a job. Give them books and they eat them. Anyway, so the 80s was rough for me. Evelyn and I were homeless. Did I tell you? Well, Evelyn was never homeless. You all gonna have to watch me fool with this hair because I'm not starting this thing all over again. Okay. One time I did a video and I pulled the hair off, but I got too many pins in here and I got a stocking cap on. But I saw that T.D. Jakes girl, she had a stocking cap on. I'm not above it. If it keeps going on, it's gonna come off. Okay, so the 80s. The 70s, I didn't know what I was doing. The 70s, I was so despondent. 2 divorces before I was 45, before I was 40 maybe. I was so despondent. I just felt like I wasn't gonna sing. What was my singing? Nobody knew I had any talent. I thought I looked pretty decent. Do you all know anything about the Birdcage in Atlanta? I did sing in the Birdcage because Dee Dee Gartrell sang in the Birdcage and she let me sing one night. And I sang in the La Carousel. And you know what? Do not listen to your friends when God has told you to do something. I took some people with me at the La Carousel. And when they finished with me, girl, you need to be teaching school. I mean, this is fine. You sound good. But you didn't go to Spelman for that. You went to Spelman to teach school. This just broke me down so badly. And I already lost whatever it was. By this time, I'm still in my head what I did with Schlitz beer. How I messed up. And how I went on an acting job and I saw Samuel Jackson's wife. She's a Spelmanite. But she didn't remember. She said, I don't remember that. I don't remember it. I'm thinking like, wow, I think that was your first principal that I can remember, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But she didn't remember. And I wanted her to remember so badly because I was so hurt over it. But she didn't remember, and I just thanked her for her time. Because she's a very, very nice person. Very nice, very nice. They're very nice people anyway. But you know how you just You mess up, you want somebody to just feel your pain. Well, she didn't remember she wasn't feeling it. Who am I to ask somebody to feel my pain? I think that's why I can't write this. I don't think I could write it. Because if you know, I don't know how to get you to feel what I feel right now. How do you get that on paper? How do you get on paper, you know, the anguish of being a single parent and trying to make it, you know, and nobody believing that you're trying to make it. Oh, because you look good, so, you know, what you complaining about? It's more to life than looks. Jesus. You know, people don't have any idea. It's more to life than all of that. I never knew if anybody was really serious about me or did they just want to be with me. I never found love in the right places. I never did. I never found any real people. You know, I dated one pilot. I ain't gonna say nothing about them. One. It didn't take but one. I was just like, stop. Don't do that no more. You know, just, I don't know. It was, people thought one thing about me and was a whole nother thing. And nobody really asked anything. They just made assumptions. I remember having all this property. I didn't have anybody to help me with, and the person I had to help me with, I lost it with him. And the person I thought that was going to help me was in competition. He went and bought property up the street. I owned Northside Drive at Griffin. All those little houses. I probably lost more property than anybody has had. It's not funny, but just God has blessed me with so many. It was such a treat to have. You know what, this is going to be off and just, it's on the way. I'm trying to sit here, but it's about to, I don't know where the pins are. I would just snatch it. Okay, let me calm down. I have property. I had property in South Georgia. I mean, God just gifted me. And I didn't have enough sense to see the gifts. I was just so broken. I love Bishop Blake. He doesn't know me, but he has a lot of videos. Listen, if you want to listen, you want to know somebody? R.C. Blake. I listen to him now. I feel like he's talking to me. In the 2023, I'm supposed to be back in the 70s and the 80s. Evelyn and I moved a lot. One of the people where I moved, Keisha Lance Bottoms, well, she wasn't Bottoms then. Well, Miss Bottoms and I were at Spelman, and Miss Bottoms and I were at Northside together. Right. Because they moved her too, you know, part of the best teachers in Atlanta. I was glad to be somewhere with Celestine Bottoms, or Celeste, I'm sorry, the late Celeste Bottoms. Wonderful woman, smart. Oh my God. Oh, I love smart women. Don't you love? God, I love us because I'm not as smart as I'd like to be. I'm never smart as I'd like to be. I feel like I always need to read something else. Speaking of, I made my brother read the encyclopedia. Y'all want to know, they called my brother when he got to Morehouse. He was friends with Bill Nunn, the late Bill Nunn, the actor. And anybody who knows this story, they call my brother Doc, Vincent Young. But everybody called him Doc. Because Doc's sister had him reading the encyclopedia. And as a kid, like, you need to read the encyclopedia. You need to listen to classical music and read the encyclopedia. Who does that to a kid? I was older than he was, you know, so I was the teacher. You're going to do this. Anyway. So are we in the 80s? We're in the 80s yet? Yeah, my daughter finished in high school. I was so proud. You all just don't know. I remember one time I lived next door to Keisha Lance and her beautiful mom. And the children played with each other. And one would babysit the other one, the other babysit. Sweet little child to this day. Keisha and Evelyn and Keisha. There's some stories there that I never liked the story, but I love them. You know, I just wanted them to be just two beautiful children, very smart. One went one way and one went the other way, but they still very smart. But they used to be little kids with me. We used to have the best time, those little girls, because I wanted them to never eat on plastic. I just think kids should, we give them paper plates. Why do you do that? Why do you give children paper plates? And because they'll drop them. No. You teach them how to hold a plate, how to eat with, eat off of, not off of plastic. They learned to eat. Those two learned, they ate off of China. Now, we did go to the McDonald's because this mama didn't have the money. So anytime, with or without Keisha, we went to the McDonald's. But we didn't eat it out of the McDonald's box. We ate China. I had fine China. And my mother liked glasses that when you do that to the glass, it rang. She said, I like thin glasses. I don't want to drink out of a glass with a thick edge. I wanted to say something when I drink out of it. So I carried that on over to Keisha and Evelyn. Keisha and Evelyn have every glass in the world. If you can't find some glasses, I already know, and I've never been to Keisha's house. I already know that Keisha last bottom got every piece of crystal you ever had, and that one called Evelyn Sanders got the rest of it. What did I do to those children? Who drinks out of styrofoam now? I do. I can't, because it's too much for me right now. It's so much going on, but I just don't have it's too much in here. You know, I want my table set. I used to have my table set all the time. I want to walk in. I just can't show you this. I don't know what. Pillows and memorabilia, and I don't even know what's over here on this table. No fine china. No napkins. You see above me, you see little demi-tasse, and you see what's up there? You know, I like to carry stuff on a tray and serve you, and you see something from Mexico or something up there, all kind of stuff up there. And then the centerpieces for my daughter's wedding, that's what that is. And of course, it's an elephant. But you know what? I'm just saying, children, don't give them plastic. Go get one plate. Go to the thrift store. Go to the one, you go to Salvation Army, or you can go to thrift, Step Up. Oh, I love Step Up with Mr. Barber. Oh my God. This whole house just about is Step Up. They have the best. They get the best of the best. They get those people who don't want to use the same thing but a year. Oh my God. Or you don't have to do that. Of course, you can go to Rich's or wherever you want to go. They don't have Rich's anymore. Macy's or Lennox or Amazon.com, and teach those children how to drink out of nice glasses. Goodness. Okay, so I'm in the 80s. Oh, so I did FINI. My cards that are called Feeney cards, I wrote them in 85. Because there I was with a kid who was 15. Mrs. Sanders had died maybe by then. No, maybe she was 16. Anyway, and so nobody in the family thought about us anymore or seeing us. So I wrote these cards called Feeney cards, divorce cards, breakup cards. And it has taken me to Beverly Maddox, could get them up in 2022. She and Chelsea Glasgow, over at the Absalon Center, Miss Chelsea Glasgow did the artwork. And Beverly Maddox finally got them up for me on the computer from 1985. Now, what does that tell you? I'm about to run out of time. What does that tell you? Stick to your dreams. Stick to it. Feeney cards. I wrote them, hand wrote them. Never got them anywhere. Now at least they're on the computer. Go get one. Order one. Just order one. Just costs me. What else? No, I also have Orange Grace, like the color orange. Oh, this is orange. Orange Grace. Orange Grace. And why do I have Orange Grace cards? Because if your loved one is a felon or, God forbid, a murderer or a rapist, God forbid, all of that's bad. But you got a child at home. That child, when that child comes to jail or the prison to see you, that child sees mama, daddy, auntie, grandmama, cousin, somebody that he or she loved and loved on her or him. That child doesn't have what's going on yet. The child is like, I want to see mommy. So I wrote these cards for Orange Grace. They're free. You don't have to worry about it. Just order them. I'm looking for something over here. I see my Crown Royal is here. I'm gonna need it when I get through with you guys. But let me tell you something. Orange Grace. They're free. Those cards are free. And Beanie cards are, I'm gonna do it like this. Because I would snatch it off, but I don't know where the pins are in my head. So, or I think I got some kind of cap on. I don't know what. This is much better. Jesus, there ain't no hair like. Now I had long hair. You know what? I think people who don't know, some of y'all know me though. I had a beautiful head of hair, and I always had bangs. And the chemo said, I ain't growing back. This last chemo said, not. Anyway, I'm running out of time almost. So, am I still in the 70s or the 80s? I think I'm in the 80s. Alvin's finishing high school, and I know what I didn't talk about. Oh yeah, that's gonna be in the early 90s. Okay, let's go with the 80s. So I did these cards, never got anywhere, but at least I wrote them. I did a play, Ain't Nobody Dancing. So I did the play with the late Carolyn Miller and Jamila Kennedy. They didn't call me, I called them. I said, I want to do this play. And they got to talking about the play and talking about the play and talking about the play. And then one night I said, I don't want to do that with them. Because I want a musical. I want to do music. Music would just eat me up. You all don't know. To want to do something and can't do it. Oh, God. So I did a musical, Ain't Nobody Dancing musical. And I didn't get the music out until 2020. So we're not there yet. We're still back here. But I felt good. It was lethargic. I told my dad, I said, Dad, I did it. I didn't get your music out, but I got this music. And I got to play. I remember one night getting all the plastic bags together so we could move in the middle of the night. Because I didn't have the rent. I said, come on, Evelyn, we got to go. It's a friend of mine at Delta. What was that name? She happened to be a white woman, too. She said, I'm not using my apartment. I ain't getting ready to get that apartment. I'm not getting ready to do that. Go ahead and tell them, just go get an apartment. And I'm not doing that because I'm going to live somewhere else, but I didn't know how to tell them. All they want is the rent anyway. So if you over there, they still going to get the rent. That's how I got the Peachtree in North Avenue. Best move. Oh, my God. You know why? Because Mr. Mallory was there. The Furrier was downstairs. Oh, the Furrier was downstairs. Alvin Singleton, the great composer, lived there. Dr. Rosin, of course, Rosin Harper lived there. My good friend Rosin Harper. Charles Black lived there. And what's his name? Oh, my classmate, Yancey. I think Yancey lived there too. And then who had a business there? Mrs. Ferris's daughter had a business there. Oh, it was hot. It was the place to live. I didn't know. I didn't know living at Peachtree and North Avenue was gonna be that good. You could look down on Freetnick. You were not expecting that, were you? We lived in apartment 911. Just look at those numbers, 911. It was the best place. We would be there right now, but they changed them to condos. And we didn't have condo money. Not the kind of condo money they were looking for. Am I still in the 80s? I'm still in the 80s. Yeah. Evelyn goes off to school. Her dad drives her up to Northwestern. Before she goes to Northwestern, this time she had already been to Northwestern in high school. I had to drive up there. We didn't know anything about where Northwestern was. I think we flew up. Anyway, let me just talk about quickly. Delta Airlines was wonderful. I have some stories to tell you that happened. We didn't have money all the time. So where do you think we ate? Who does this? You don't tell your child you don't have money. You just say, would you like to go for a plane ride? Because back then, first class had steak and ice cream and baked potatoes and, oh my God, you got first class. So you just fly somewhere. Who gets on an airplane? Oh, Lord have mercy. I raised my child though. She's well traveled. The food was good. I even went to San Juan with $50 and no place to stay. And the flight attendant said, are you on this plane going to San Juan with no reservation? And I said, yes. My car broke down. And rather than lament about my car breaking down, I'm like, Evelyn, where would you like to go? And she said, I want to go to San Juan. I said, come on. And we got a bus or whatever they had, where one of the places I was living had a little train, a van you can get, dropped me off at the airport, took us down to San Juan. I said, now when you get down there, you can't be hungry because mommy doesn't have any money. We have to eat on the plane. Of course, she was starving. I love you, and you can't do anything about it.